I'm Dr. Joe Esposito, and welcome to our podcast, For the Health of It. Remember to subscribe to our podcasts, and I'll help you naturally get well and stay well.
The information presented on this program is not intended to take the place of your personal physician's advice, and it is not intended to diagnose, treat, cure, or prevent any disease. Discuss this information with your own physician or healthcare provider to determine what is right for you.
Are you suffering needlessly? Dr. Joe can give you advice on how to naturally get well and stay well. Dr. Joe Esposito.
We're talking about how digestion works, and we're getting kind of a little complicated, but I'm trying to break it down the best we can. I always check with my coworkers here. Am I explaining things right? And they're saying we're doing a good job. But I did say something, and my bad. I said the appendix actually has some very important roles. It can help store bacteria. It can help with the immune system. Some people believe it has a connection to cancer treatments. And then my cameraman said, well, what do we do about if we had our appendix removed? You didn't tell us what to do now. Good point. So my bad. Here's my explanation. You need the good bacteria in your colon. So if you've had your appendix removed, two things. Number one, you have to really take care of your immune system. You have to stay away from what I call the 7 deadly sins: alcohol, meat, sugar, dairy, coffee, soda, and artificial sweetener. You have to make sure you're taking probiotics, good bacteria. And if I have time, I'll cover it, but I may jump into it now. People think, well, I eat yogurt, Dr. Joe. It's fermented. It's great for me. No, it's not. Okay, the bacteria in the yogurt is good, but it's not the best kind that you need. The other thing, too, that most commercial yogurts are pasteurized after they're produced. So a lot of the bacteria, if not all of it, is killed off. So Dr. Joe's probiotics would be something I would recommend, which can help your immune system and also keep the bacteria in your colon healthy. Staying away from the sugar, the meat, the dairies, the coffees, the sodas, the artificial sweeteners, that's going to weaken the immune system. Make sure you're getting enough vitamin D3. Vitamin D3 is the kind we need to keep our immune system strong. Now, I take vitamin D3 in the winter, right around the end of summer, once the sun starts to, it starts getting cool, till spring, when I'm out in the sun again. You have to get about 10 minutes of sun on your body, arms and face at least, every day to get about 20,000 international units of vitamin D. In the winter, I don't know anyone that shouldn't be taking vitamin D supplements, vitamin D3. And that's on the website, by the way. We have a Dr. Joe's Vitamin D, drjoe.com. We also have something called Dr. Joe's Wellness Booster, which has echinacea, pau d'arco, olive leaf extract, and suma root. I take that in the winter because that keeps my immune system strong. So if you've had your pancreas removed, it's not a benign thing. If you've had your gallbladder removed, it's not something, I have my gallbladder removed, it's no big deal. You have to address this. I have to wear glasses. I don't like wearing glasses. It's a lot I have in life. If I want to see, I have to wear glasses. If you had your gallbladder removed, if you have your pancreas removed, there are certain things you have to do. It just is what it is. And so it's not hard, it's easy, but you want to make sure you're taking that extra precaution. So that's why we want to make sure that if you do have an organ removed, you compensate for it. And so back to where I was, we were talking about cleansing the colon. The bowel should move 1 to 2 times a day. 3 times a day would be great, as long as it's not diarrhea. But the bowel should move. Food in should mean food out. So if your bowels are clogged up, you need to clean them out. And on the website, we have something called Dr. Joe's Intestinal Cleanser, drjoe.com. That stuff is amazing. Here's how you take it. Don't change the rules on me here. Some people do, and they get mad at me. Take one caplet. See how you do the next day. If your bowels are moving, 1, 2 times a day, easy and clean, that's great. If not, take 2 the next day. If not, take 3 the next day. Don't take more than 3. I had a patient come in one time, she took 6. And she came in and she says, holy cow, she didn't say cow, that stuff really works. I said, I know it does. I said, don't take 6. She goes, I found that out. So follow the directions. There's a reason why when I formulate these supplements, I give you directions with it so you know what to do. But you want to get the bowels cleaned out. Now, any program designed to improve your health or eliminate disease from the bodies has to begin with intestinal cleansing and detoxification. Socrates, I think it was, said all disease starts in the colon. So you have to look at that. So you want to clean out the body. Now, Dr. Joe's Intestinal Cleanser, that's on the website, drjoe.com. That'll help remove a lot of old fecal matter and waste from the colon, and it's also going to strengthen the colon muscles so that it works again to rebuild and replenish the friendly bacteria cultures that live virtually every square inch of the tube from your mouth to your bottom. Now, what do I mean by contractions? Your colon is a muscle. And so the muscles have to contract. If I want to build up my bicep, what do? I contract it and I contract it. Your colon needs to contract. And the way the colon works is like this. The colon's a tube and you put food in there and it causes the tube to stretch out. And your colon has something in it called stretch receptors. And when the stretch receptors are stretched far enough, they contract. And that moves everything out of your body. If you're not putting enough fiber in your colon, the colon never gets to that point, or hardly ever gets to the point of the stretch receptors firing and contracting, it becomes a problem. And so the colon becomes weak. It becomes a weak muscle. So what do we do about it? We get you on some high fiber. We get you on something like Dr. Joe's intestinal formula to start exercising the colon. It's literally exercise for your colon. And then the colon can get stronger. And every disease, I'm telling you, if you get the bowels working properly, and that's why I talk about a good diet, because that helps the bowels work better. The intestinal formula is a little jump start for you. You're going to be amazed. It's just incredible. And when people start moving their bowels and getting the toxins out of their system, they feel better, their stomach flattens out, they have more energy, their love life improves, their breath freshens. There's no downside to this, folks. And so as part of a plan, along with eating up mostly fruits and vegetables, nuts and seeds, those have what? Fiber. How much fiber in a piece of meat? 0. How much fiber in a glass of milk? 0. Animal products have no fiber. If you process grains, a lot of processed foods, read how much fiber is in there. Almost nothing. So you really want to try to eat what we call whole foods, as close to nature, or as close to they were picked, as possible. Now, I see a lot of patients with Crohn's disease, IBS, ulcerative colitis. Now, more Americans, this is amazing, more Americans are hospitalized for digestive diseases than any other illness. In fact, digestive diseases cost the United States about $91 billion a year annually in healthcare cost. That's just not healthcare costs, lost work, premature deaths. And the bottom line is that virtually every single American will suffer from some form of chronic digestive disorder if they live long enough. Now, the rest of the world is close behind, unfortunately. So what do we eat? That's a great question. How do we survive this? Well, how do you eat and get the foods in your body that you need? We talk about what not to eat. I call them the 7 deadly sins of nutrition. If you go to my website, drjoe.com, and go under media, if you go to my YouTube channel, you're going to see it. It's usually on the front page. It's one of the most popular lectures we do. It's called the 7 deadly sins of nutrition. And I want you to watch that video. If you want to just listen to it, that's fine too. But I talk about the foods you want to avoid. Those are alcohol, meat, sugar, dairy, coffee, soda, artificial sweetener, breads, cookies, cakes, donuts, pastas. I said this week to a patient. She came in, she was in a wheelchair, had her leg cut off from diabetes. She was thin, and she had given up hope. And her husband dragged her in. She did not want to be there with us. She said, listen, my father died, my sister died, my other sister has diabetes. I'm going to die from it. I've given up. I don't really care. And so I said, you want to stay away from the 7 deadly sins, alcohol, meat, sugar, dairy, coffee, soda, and artificial sweetener. She looked at her husband, and they kind of smirked at each other. And he said, that's her whole diet. I said, that's why she had her leg cut off. So she was pretty aggressive. She didn't want to be there, and her husband was making her. So I turned on a charm, and I told a few jokes, and I made light of it. And by the end, she cried. And she said, I've given up hope. And I said, there's no need to give up hope. I said, as long as you're above ground and there's air in those lungs, let's see what we can do. And I explained everything to her about the nervous system and the digestive system and the pancreas and insulin resistance. I've done shows on that. That's on the website, drjoe.com. And by the end, for the first time in her life, she understood what type 2 diabetes was, why what she was doing was so dangerous, why chiropractic care is going to be an important component to her treatment. She's got to open up the nerve supply to the organs, why she has to get on a good diet. And at the end, I looked at her. I said, now, whatever you decide to do is up to you. And with tears in her eyes, she looked at me and she said, let's do this. I got tears in my eyes. I was so excited that for the first time, this woman had hope and an understanding. And then I said, I know who my next patient is. She said, who? I said, your sister. And she smiled. So I know we're talking about diabetes, but the digestive system is our topic today. It all comes back to taking care of the body. Normally functioning nervous system, normally functioning digestive system, and good nutrition. So when I said the 7 deadly sins, she smirked because that's her whole diet. It doesn't have to be your whole diet. Because I smiled at her and I said, there's 120,000 foods that you can eat. I estimate that number. She said, like what? And then I said, go to my website and type in the search bar, so what can I eat? And it's going to be an audio lecture that I did. It's an hour lecture on what you can eat. Breakfast, lunches, dinners, snacks. It's all there. And when people do this and they change their diets, within days, they come back to me, inevitably, and say, why didn't I do this sooner? They all want to know why they didn't do this sooner and why didn't somebody tell them about this sooner? And the answer is, I don't know. So stay away from alcohol, meat, sugar, dairy, coffee, soda, and artificial sweetener. What do you eat? Mostly fruits, vegetables, nuts, and seeds. That's 120,000 foods. Now, I've been a vegan 32 years. I'm not asking you to do that. But when I became a vegan, it was basically beans and rice and salad. That's it. Now you go into any grocery store. You have plant-based burgers. You have plant-based meatballs. You have plant-based everything. Now, it is processed food, not ideal, but I'm also understanding there's baby steps. And in fact, we're putting together a baby step program. It'll be on the website pretty soon, and you can actually take baby steps. Step 1, step 2, step 3, we'll go about 7 different steps on how to get your diet straightened out. Because some people, I can't do that, it's impossible. All right, can you do this? I can do that. How about this? I can do that. And it's easy. I always recommend you get the right nutrients in the body. If you're a regular listener to the show, Dr. Joe's Super Greens and Dr. Joe's Essential Source are the minimum amount of nutrients you should be eating every single day. If you go to the website, there's a full explanation of 2 powders. I mix it with coconut milk or almond milk, shake it up. I use regular. You can use unsweetened, but it's not as tasty. Use regular, shake it up, and drink it at least once a day. In fact, just before I went on the air, I ran into one of my coworkers, and I walked into her office, and she said, oh my gosh, she said, I've been taking the Super Greens, the Essential Source again. I'm starting to feel good again. And I said, what happened? She goes, I was taking it for a while. I was feeling great, and I don't know what happened. I just stopped taking it. And it was sitting right on her desk. I said, get back to it. She goes, I have to. Oh my gosh, I'm so glad that I remembered to start taking this again. So I don't know why anyone wouldn't take Super Greens and Essential Source. The stuff is great. It tastes great. It's easy. It's convenient. On the website, drjoe.com. And if you live near one of our offices, we have offices in Marietta, Duluth, and Stockbridge in the Atlanta area. Come by and pick it up. Save the shipping. And we'd like to say hi to you anyway. I'd like to shake hands with folks if I can. So that's all on the website. But the minimum nutrients, folks, no matter what your situation is, drjoe.com for Super Greens and Essential Source. And the vitamin D we talked about, the digestive enzymes we talked about earlier, the probiotics, that's all there too. So you want to keep a small, maybe 3 ounces a day or less if you're going to eat meat in your diet. Because I know people say, I can't give up meat. If you're going to eat meat, it's got to be small amounts of organic meat only. I don't want you grilling it or frying it, especially grilling, because when you grill it, you get those grill marks. And those grill marks are called heterocyclic amines. And the smell of grilled meat are called polycyclic aromatic hydrocarbons, both of which are known carcinogens. So if you're going to eat meat, organic only. If you're going to eat chicken, if you're going to eat eggs, organic only. If you're going to eat fish, wild caught only. No freshwater fish, by the way, because there's no fresh water that I know of in the United States that I would consider good. So wild caught fish only. So what useful things have we learned so far? Let me do a little recap right here before we move on. It's important to chew your food thoroughly. Make sure it mixes completely with the amylase, the salivary amylase, your saliva. Eat raw foods as much as possible, so that when your food is packed with live enzymes, it's going to be easier to digest. Use Dr. Joe's digestive enzymes with meals if you're going to eat a cooked meal or to compensate for any shortages that you might have in your food or in your life. Any shortages causes the body to produce excess stomach acid to compensate. So a lot of people have acid reflux because they don't have enough digestive enzymes and the body's trying to struggle to keep it alive. Don't drink a lot of fluids, water, soda, beer, whatever it is, with your meals because that dilutes your stomach digestive enzymes and that forces the body to produce more stomach acid to compensate. You can get chiropractic treatment if you have acid reflux, heartburn, burping, gas, bloating. We simply adjust or pull the stomach down away from the diaphragm. And when we do that, it's the number 2 reason we see patients. The number 1 reason we see patients is pain. The number 2 reason we see patients is for digestive issues. And that's why we do a lot of shows on digestive issues. Now, if you want to come see us as a patient, I think you should. Stop suffering needlessly. So many people suffer for days, years, months, decades, and because they don't know what to do. Here's an answer for you. If you have pain, neck pain, back pain, radiating pain, muscle weakness, headaches, folks, it may be a pinched nerve. Probably is a pinched nerve, by the way. It could be other things, but it usually is. Go to my website, drjoe.com. You can make an appointment to see us in Atlanta. Office is in Marietta, Duluth, and Stockbridge. We would love to have the opportunity to be your doctor. Now, I know this show is heard all over the world. We can do a nutritional workup on you, if you'd like, over on the air. We can do it on Skype or we can do it over the phone if we'd like to. We can do blood panels on you. We can do a blood panel or a saliva panel to see if you have any allergies, food allergies. It's really important to find out if certain foods are reacting with your body and you need to avoid them. We can do a male hormone panel to test the male hormones. We can do a female hormone panel. And let's see if there's a hormone imbalance, what we need to do to get the hormones working properly. So if you're sick and tired of being sick and tired, go to my website right now. Don't wait because you're going to forget. If you're like me, you forget. The website is drjoe.com, and we would love the opportunity to set up an appointment with you so we can help get you well and keep you well. Plus, on the website, we have over 1,000 hours of podcasts, video, and audio. I want you to become a Dr. Joe junkie. I want you to listen to the podcast over and over again. Share them with your friends. Follow us on Facebook. Follow us on Instagram. Subscribe to our YouTube channel. We want to be your doctors, and we need you to help us to spread the word. So all that's on the website, drjoe.com, 24 hours a day. Now, how to make sure you absorb your vitamins and minerals you eat, or if you take supplements. Because again, it's not about ingestion, it's about digestion and absorption. If you eat something that passes right through, you're not going to get a whole lot of benefit from it. Now, ultimately, everything that happens in your digestive tract is designed to get nutrients into the blood system. So as we discussed, we talk about this in our newsletters, we talk about this on our shows at drjoe.com. The anatomy of the small intestine, virtually all the nutrients, amino acids, sugars, fats, enter the body by crossing the cells that are found in the small intestine. They make up what's called the epithelial layer. And that covers every inch of what's called the villi. Now, the villi are hair-like projections in the small intestine. So your small intestine is not a straight tube. It has bumps in it. And the intestine has bumps in it called rugae. There's a big word for you. And in the rugae, you have these little hairs coming down. Kind of like the hairs in your nose. That's what your colon looks like. They're called villi. And on the villi, you have cells that can open up and allow nutrients to pass into the blood system. Most nutrients go into the blood system, fats go into the lymphatic system, then into the blood system. That's just technicalities. But they pass through the endoepithelia of the villi, and most of these molecules then cross into the capillary network, and then they work their way into the bloodstream. So that's how it works. And if you have things like colitis, irritable bowel syndrome, there's an inflammatory reaction, and those villi, those little hairs, flatten out. And so they can't absorb the nutrients. And so now if you can't absorb nutrients, it can cause an inflammatory reaction, which prevents you from absorbing nutrients. So you kind of get caught in this trap, as Elvis said, I'm caught in a trap. And so you're caught in a trap, and so what do? Well, you can walk out, unlike Elvis, who couldn't walk out. You can walk out. Avoid the foods that cause the inflammatory reaction. The number one food allergy, the number one food that's going to cause an inflammatory reaction in the bowels, dairy products. So I would strongly advise that you give up dairy at least for 2 weeks. I would say longer than that, but if you really want to put it to the test, 2 weeks. I also want you to give up wheat. Now, when I say wheat, that's wheat, barley, and rye. Breads, cookies, cakes, donuts, pastas. You can do gluten-free, which you shouldn't. It's still sugar, but at least it's a start. So here's my challenge to you. I want you to give up all wheat and all dairy for 2 weeks. Not a bite, not a drop, not an ounce, nothing. No wheat, no dairy for 2 weeks. At the end of 2 weeks, I want you to have a couple of slices of pizza. Why? Because the wheat flour that we use in pizza is high gluten. And gluten is the protein that can cause the inflammatory reaction. Cheese is going to be on your pizza. And cheese is really hard to digest. So I'm going to really stress your digestive system, and then you tell me what happens. Chances are you'll have bloating, gas, you'll feel tired, you won't want to work, your brain fog, and then you'll say what tens of thousands of people have said over the years, Dr. Joe was right. Or the 3 words I love to hear, that makes sense. Okay? So don't be like so many people suffering needlessly. We spent how many billions of dollars, I talked about it earlier, on digestive issues, and most of them are self-induced. So why do it? Why enjoy a piece of pizza or a donut or whatever it is, and then have digestive issues and end up spending a ton of money and time and maybe shortening your life? It's not hard, it's easy if you know what to do. That's why I created Super Greens and Essential Source, the 2 supplements, because they're easy to absorb. They taste good, they're easy to absorb, they're already in a powder form, so they're broken down pretty well for you. And so when it gets into that villi, into the small intestine, they can get sucked right up. So there's no reason not to do that. So once again, the bottom line, this chyme, if you're listening earlier, chyme is a mixture of broken down food and digestive juices, kind of looks like vomit, travels through the small intestine, and it's exposed to a wide variety of absorption sites. Each one has different characteristics. So some nutrients will be absorbed here, some nutrients will be absorbed there. The key to absorption of most nutrients in the small intestine is what we call an electrochemical pump powered by electrolytes. Now, you may have seen this word electrolytes. I'm an athlete. I'm drinking this purple drink or this green drink. It has electrolytes in it. I'm going to be a super athlete. You don't need electrolyte drinks unless you're what's called an elite athlete. You're running a marathon. You're sweating profusely. You're training for the Olympics. Other than that, you don't really need electrolyte drinks. Now, if you want to do electrolytes, you can eat good foods. Dr. Joe Super Greens, Dr. Joe Essential Source, a banana. There's your electrolytes right there. Now, the main electrolyte is sodium. And that works across what's called the epithelial cell boundary of the villi, so the lining. And in fact, this is not unique to cells in the small intestine. Every cell in the body is required to maintain a low concentration of sodium inside the cell and a higher concentration of sodium outside the cell. And we talk about sodium, salt, which is required, this is required for movement of nutrients and waste in and out of the cell. The purpose of the sodium pump is to pull nutrients into the cell as sodium flows in and move waste product out as potassium moves out. So it's a sodium-potassium pump. And in fact, this is how your nervous system works. As a chiropractor, I think it's really important that I understand, or my team of doctors understand, how the nerves work. And they work on what's called sodium-potassium potentials. You have sodium and potassium, one inside the cell, one outside the cell. And they move in and out. They switch back and forth. And when they switch back and forth, they create an action potential. You might know it as a nerve impulse. And so that's how the nerves work, sodium, potassium moving in and out. So if you don't have a good diet, if you're eating too much bad salt, white table salt, for example, if you don't get enough potassium in your diet, you don't have the nutrients to create the pump to produce neurological function. So even if you're getting the best chiropractic care in the world, like I think I receive at my offices, what's going to happen? If you don't have the nutrients to make it work, you're not going to get all the benefits. Let's assume you need surgery. Let's assume you need medication, whatever it is. Either way, you want to make sure you're getting the right nutrients so that the body can function. We are nothing but a sack of chemicals. Flesh bag. Full of chemicals, and those chemicals are the reason that we're alive. Enzymes make everything work. So if you're eating cooked foods, probably need to start taking some of Dr. Joe's digestive enzymes. If you're getting older, over 50, chances are by taking digestive enzymes, you're going to have this burst of energy. Your love life is going to improve. All sorts of things start to happen. Now, it's not overnight. I took an enzyme, Dr. Joe. I didn't see any changes. It's going to take some time. You want to make sure the nervous system is working. If you have pinched nerves, whatever's on the other end of that pinched nerve cannot work. It can't work. So you have to have physically all the nerves working, chemically the right nutrients, and the minimum would be Dr. Joe's Super Greens and Dr. Joe's Essential Source every day. And then you also want to make sure your digestive system is working. So I'm kind of running out of time. I got a lot more to cover. I may have to do a whole other show on this. I got so much more to cover. But you got to make sure the lining of the small intestine, the villi, are working properly. And they work because of what? Sodium and potassium pumping foods in and out. And that's why if you're going to do salt, air-dried sea salt, Himalayan salt, Celtic salt, these salts, good. Table salt, bad. Because they have other nutrients in them as well. And those nutrients are the things that are going to make everything work. Nothing works independently. I didn't have time to cover it today. I'm going to talk about supplements. I guess I'll talk about that in the future. And how you need, you can't have isolated supplements. You have to have them combined with other things so they work together. And that's why you see if you ever take a vitamin E, for example, and it's just alpha-tocopherol, you need the other vitamin E's. There's other vitamin E's aside from alpha-tocopherol to make it all work together. So you want to eat a whole food diet. When I say whole food, the way it was picked, every day at least have a salad. One meal a day should be salad. Absolutely. At least, if you're not going to do that, something raw at every meal. Broccoli, cucumbers, tomatoes, avocados, salad. If you're going to eat these fruits and vegetables, I do recommend organic so you don't get the pesticides on there. If you're having digestive issues, Dr. Joe's digestive enzymes. Probiotics help keep the bacteria in the colon healthy. I take probiotics every day, just a prophylactic measure. Super Essential Source has probiotics and prebiotics in it. Prebiotics help the digestive system work as well. It's not, if you don't know what to eat, I have a great book. It's called Eating Right for the Health of It. It's on my website, drjoe.com. First half of the book tells you how to change your diet. Second half of the book is well over 200 recipes. Because people say, I don't know what to eat. Or, if you don't want to read a book, go to my website, watch the video called The 7 Deadly Sins of Nutrition, and then we have a follow-up companion one called So What Can I Eat? Just type it in the search bar, it'll come up. And this is your starting point. And the website has over 1,000 hours of podcasts, audio and video. So if you like what you're hearing, even a little bit, go to the website, listen to some more. You could become a little junkie. Okay, I had somebody come up to me the other day and said, Dr. Joe, I'm your biggest fangirl. I didn't know what that term was. Had to ask my younger staff, and they said it's like a groupie. I said, okay, that's good. I like groupies. And so become a groupie, become a fangirl, and start learning this because this is healthcare that really works. I don't want you to suffer and spend time and money and shorten your life on things that are preventable. Folks, I'm almost out of time. A lot more to cover. We'll probably do another show on it. If you want to make an appointment to come see us in the Atlanta area, we have offices in Marietta, Duluth, and Stockbridge. Go to my website, drjoe.com. Make an appointment for you, your friends, your family, and your children. Please, I'm begging you. We see a lot of children in our offices because if they're healthy starting out, chances are their lives are going to be healthier going on. If you've ever been in a car accident, ever, if it was 50 years ago or yesterday, come to us as soon as you can. Because if the car was damaged, you were damaged 100% of the time. Folks, I'm Dr. Joe Esposito. The website, drjoe.com. We'll catch you next time. Thanks for listening to For the Health of It. Remember to subscribe to this podcast, and I'll help you naturally get well and stay well. You can also listen to and call into my radio show live Sunday evenings from 7 to 9 Eastern Time on WSBRadio.com and on the WSB Radio app.